fading. We gotta go. I'll get my car. I brought mine. Yours. I gotta get me one of those.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bat Dan's Discussions. Sorry it's been a while. I've had some bad headaches lately and some personal stuff. Exciting personal stuff, but been very busy, so I'm really glad to get on a stream finally and talk about this great sell trending day that we just had on 3/18 day. And I'm not going to waste any time. Please welcome, as I bring on, Josh Herrera. How are you, man?
Welcome back, Bat Dan. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm very excited. You know, we had a great day. I think signs of good things to come, and I'm just really excited. I think there's a lot of great stuff to talk about.
I agree. Some exciting stuff.
And before we get started, I just want to quickly remind everyone, One Punch Dan on tentative date. This is tentative for July 11th, 2025, if ZodWriter gets everything he needs to done on time, because ZodWriter will not sacrifice quality for a release date. So, tentative for July 11th, 2025. A lot of great characters, a lot of awesome characters, and just Josh.
Yes, just Josh is in a movie called One Punch Dan.
Who's going to get his ass kicked by One Punch Dan?
We'll see, won't we?
Are you excited though, Josh? Are you excited to see this movie?
I'm very excited. The stuff that I have seen and the stuff that is behind the scenes that no one else has seen that I've been privy to is very exciting. Getting a little bit of insight into it, I do feel privileged enough to have been, embraced by this community and people who are transcending creativity, right? And no longer just letting whatever Hollywood just shovels in front of your face think that you have to eat it, right? We're saying, nope, we're not going to eat that. We're not going to drink Granny's peach tea. We're going to make our own art. And so I really do appreciate being a part of a project that is coming out on July 11th, 2025, tentatively. But if it is delayed, it will be worth the wait from what I know. Trust me. So really excited.
Exactly. And Josh, are you standing right now?
I am standing. Stand for
Not
something
healthier.
or fall for anything.
And what up, Rebel Moon Theory? Don't forget, trending event for Rebel Moon Part 2 on April 19th, 2025.
Yep. Trending day.
And before we get started with the cell topics, I wanted to talk about this. So Josh Herrera had a bit of an experience lately. So let me find.
I don't know if you can see the back of that, but it says,
Oh yeah, find the accountant. So we got this, and we got this. So Josh, what was this? What can you tell me what this is exactly?
Yeah, so no, I was privileged enough. So South by Southwest, for anybody who doesn't know, is a week-long event that happens in my hometown here in Austin, Texas. And Ben Affleck has been coming, and he debuted a little movie called Air here. He filmed a movie called Hypnotic here with Troublemaker Studios, Robert Rodriguez. And apparently he just loves Austin, Texas. At the time he was filming Hypnotic, he and J-Lo made the news because they were together, obviously, and they rented a penthouse downtown. And so everyone was like, oh my God, you know, looking for Ben Affleck and J-Lo. But he loves the city. And this is kind of like a spring, you know, event. It happens during spring break. And so movies premiere here. Ben and Artist Equity chose to bring The Accountant 2 as the world premiere. From what I understand, it was the world premiere. And so that invite that you got to see, the reason I sent it to you, Bat Dan, was because the way South by Southwest works, it's more for industry people. From what I've discovered over the years, there is a music section, which is how it started off. This is Austin, Texas is the live music capital of the world, if you don't know. And so this is where artists come, like Nashville, like other places, right? It's kind of like how to be discovered. So it started as music. Now, over the years, has transformed into technology, because we are basically becoming the new San Francisco, Silicon Valley down here in Texas. And then now it's exploded into film. And so Hollywood comes here, right? And of course, obviously, so that brings the good stars. You have to pay thousands of dollars to get a badge. You can pay like $1,000 just for music, $1,000 for film, $1,000 for interactive, and then, but you don't know who it is, right? They're on sale right now for 2026. I just happened to have a friend who was able to get me into several events where some SnyderVerse equivalent actors were part of it, or something to do with SnyderVerse. This event popped up on Twitter, thanks to Artist Equity. I just saw it, right? I don't have a badge. I didn't pay. The only thing I have is a music wristband. So that's the only credentials that I have, and I can only get into music stuff. So that, right, was something I just saw on Twitter, and I did real quick, and I got an invite. Sadly, it was for the pre-party. So it was an event, basically a pop-up event with a tent, essentially, where Ben Affleck, John Bernthal, Gavin O'Connor, and the stars of the movie showed up. Unfortunately, I didn't know this. I got the 6 p.m. time slot. They showed up at the 5 p.m. time slot. However, it was still an amazing experience. I got to get one of these t-shirts. I also got to practice finding the accountant and becoming the accountant. This is my gorgeous art. I started here, and then I ended up getting slowly but surely closer to Target. There was like an escape room. There was free drinks. There was food. I actually didn't get to get any of the food because I was just so wrapped up in the experience. But amazing experience. I did not, due to some drama, long story, I did not get to get into the premiere, but I was outside in basically like the fan pit area where Ben and John Bernthal came and signed autographs and stuff. So I got to see them. But luckily, they did an encore screening the next day. So I was not in the room for the actual premiere in front of Ben and John and everyone, but I did get to see it the next day at a subsequent screening. And I can tell you that The Accountant 2 is a great sequel, and it is, I don't think, going to be the one and done sequel, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. And before I ask you more, I just want to show some more pictures that. So actually, hold on. Let me remove.
These are not my pictures. Those are the more professional ones. But obviously, me being local, I went through some of the best pictures. So where Ben is at with the fans, I was in that crowd. I was probably like third people, but oh my God, y'all, the demand for these two actors. This was the highlight. This is part of the headliner series, and ended up winning the award for the headline movie. And you could tell because just like the paparazzi, right? Like it's evolved over the years, right? Used to be that Ben Affleck and all these Hollywood stars love to come to Austin because we as Austinites were very laid back. We're just like, oh, it's Ben Affleck. What's up going on? What's going on, partner? Right? But now, as it's evolved and gotten bigger, now Hollywood comes, right? So basically, I met so many people from California, so many people from New York, some people who are celebrity chasers, right? So
Yeah.
I was actually struggling. I have videos, I've posted it on Twitter, just to keep my phone in my hand because I was literally being pushed because I was like two from the front. So I was trying to like maybe get something signed or like get, Ben or John Bernthal's, but poor guys, they were both being hounded. You can see it all over Ben's face. They were being screamed at, blah, blah, blah. But it just shows the demand for these two actors, obviously Batfleck and the Punisher. So it was great to see them in the flesh and see the movie that they both deliver exceptionally well with the characters that they established in the original 2016 film.
So Dennis has a question. How does this compare? I think Dennis means Accountant 1 since this movie is Accountant 2. So I'm assuming he means.
I will say the beginning of the movie is a little slow, right? But I think it's needed because it picks up right in real time. So the time frame from when 2016, right? All those years, 8 years later, so you're kind of getting back. And so some of those are, so the top pictures are mine. So those were me taking pictures in the pit. So these two, and then the top one, but the bottom one was a professionally took photo. So I would say this is kind of like, in my opinion, I don't know, but this is a bridge movie, if that makes sense. And these are not my photos. These are not my photos either. These are just red carpet type photos.
I have a feeling, though, these are your photos.
The top one and the bottom one is, because obviously, so that was me in front of the screen with Accountant, and then the South by Southwest, obviously, and the middle ones were paparazzi pictures. But I was there for it. I just couldn't take good pictures because there were so many heads in front of me, if that makes sense. And so, and then there were cameras too. And so that's part of the experience that was going on. They had like a puzzle where you could make the movie poster. You could do obviously paintball, act like the accountant. There was an escape room, and they also had hats. I got lucky. I was like one of the last people to leave the event. So they ran out of t-shirts, but I guess someone got like an extra one, so they just left it on the table. So as I was looking, it's not my size; it's really big, but. I just saw that it said find the accountant. So I was like, I need it. So I just swiped the t-shirt because there was literally nobody but the workers. So yeah, it's a good movie. Like I said, I don't think it's the end of the story at all. So go in. I think we're a little bit more, I think this week it's like 2 days and a month from its release. When you go in, just know, I don't think that this is the end of the story. That's all I'm going to say.
Interesting. Because I saw Accountant 1 recently, and I know that felt like it could be a standalone movie. But that's interesting what you say. But, I mean, I'm definitely excited for this. Batman and Punisher teaming up. I mean, there's all this talk about DC Marvel crossover, but like this right here, this is the DC Marvel crossover that we're interested in, at least us two. I'm sure Sokka's more interested in this DC Marvel crossover than the current one being planned.
And speaking, I do have to mention this before I forget. I also got to go to this premiere. It is called Holland with Nicole Kidman, who gave me a kiss, blew me a kiss, which really just, it made my entire life, my whole year. Amazing movie. This is also a MGM Amazon Studios film. This will not get a theatrical release from what I understand. It is just streaming. But then also something of note is this movie, or not movie, I'm sorry, TV show. This is Continental Studios. So there's a little show coming out called The Studio. from Seth Rogen. And it is rumored that there might be a particular director of interest in this fan community that might show up in that show. All I'm going to say is that I saw the first 2 episodes of this show, which stars Seth Rogen, Ike Barinholtz, the security guard in Suicide Squad. I want you to go home and delete my browser history, the one with Deadshot. And
yes.
Mr. J wants to show his toys too. Catherine Hahn, Agatha, and also Catherine O'Hare from Beetlejuice 2, Schitt's Creek. So amazing show. Do not look at anything. There are so many cameos and so many surprises. I guarantee you want them to not be spoiled. But as SnyderVerse fans, I can tell you it's going to be very enlightening to watch this show and take a peek behind the curtain, which we already know of, like what Hollywood's right? But just to see Continental Studios, it's a fictitious studio, obviously, but as the show goes on, you can kind of see what kind of past dramas and experiences of a particular studio that might be referenced. So definitely that comes out, I believe it's the 26th, so this week, March 26th. Amazing show. I don't have I do actually have Apple TV Plus because I have an iPhone. It's going to expire literally in April. And so I'm like, this show is so good. I think it's going to be the mainstay of Apple TV, honestly. Breakout hit that I might have to renew and pay for Apple TV Plus because I never watch it. Like I've had it for like a year. I never watch it. I'm just like, now the studio is going to start and I've seen the first 2 episodes and I'm like, I have to watch the show. So definitely take note of that. But The Accountant 2 was the highlight. It won, like I said, the audience award, headliner award, and it's definitely going to be a worthy sequel, I think, for most people who are fans of the first one.
And it's made by MGM, right?
Yeah, MGM, Amazon. I was explaining because I didn't know that it was going to get a theatrical release. So I was telling my friend, I have to be at the premiere. I have to be at the premiere. Have to be at the premiere. And then I found out, it's going to get a theatrical release. But then I was like, hey, there's another screening tomorrow. She's like, let's go. So yeah, I got to go and see it, and I'm very privileged. So whatever I was telling back then, I was like, I don't know if I'm on some kind of list with Artist Equity, but I hope so because I think the reception and the love that Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and John Bernthal and the entire cast and crew was electric. And so I hope that they bring more events like this to Austin, Texas. So very privileged to have been able to attend that.
Maybe the Batfleck movie on Netflix maybe might get a limited theatrical release premiere in Austin. So Netflix.
Hey, if you know, we are known for our bats. We are kind of Gotham City, not in look, but in far as bat population. So I'm just saying, Ben.
Flash.
What's going on? Good, Austin.
So any other non-spoiler thoughts you want to say about this movie before we move on?
I will say it's a little slow. I mean, like I said, that my one critique about the movie, a little slow, right? Because you're, like I said, you're getting back. You gotta do this. And then there's character evolution. And I think Ben talked about, you can look at clips, him being interviewed, that's what made him want to do the sequel, was to dive into how these characters are evolving because of what's happening in the movie. And it really does it broadens the mythology. I remember I was at Comic-Con 2016, conveniently enough, San Diego Comic-Con, the same year BVS came out and The Accountant. And I have still to this day The Accountant comic book. Yes, they made a comic book. So I have that.
Interesting.
And I will just say the mythology is, The Accountant is an IP. I'll just say that. How about that? The Accountant IP. So expect a lot more from Artist Equity and MGM Amazon Studios.
Absolutely. Thank you, Josh. Thank you for coming on here and sharing your experience with this movie and with this event with me. I really appreciate it because we support the SnyderVerse cast. That's what we do as SnyderVerse fans. We want our Batman to succeed. And Sox wants his Punisher to succeed. And let's be honest, he's all our Punisher. Like,
Yeah.
John Bernthal's one of the people I think that transcends the DC Marvel rift, is that John Bernthal's Punisher, everyone likes that guy. So
and also he did give tidbits, of course, because he knew he was going to be asked about it, right? And now he's, spoiler alert, but he's showed up in Born Again. So
Yep.
it's apropos that all the articles having to do with John Bernthal and Punisher were actually from South by Southwest. They just held those quotes until now. And so now they're like, oh, hey, you remember when John was promoting Accountant 2? But yeah, it's great to see Punisher and Batfleck on screen together. So go April 25th in your local theater and support. Amazing sequel.
Absolutely, Josh. And I will definitely see it. And thank you again for coming on to share your great experience. And now let's get into something I want to rant about. Looney Tunes leaving Max. Now, I'm not a big Looney Tunes guy. I'm not going to lie. I am not a big Looney Tunes person at all, but it's the principle that matters to me. So I want to clarify. It's not all of Looney Tunes that's leaving Max. From my understanding, was the original article or the original shorts, the original old shorts is what's leaving. They still have a lot of their newer stuff on there, but here's my big issue with this, though. Who is the mascot of Warner Brothers? Who would you say is, like, when you think of a character from Warner Brothers, who's the first one that comes to your mind?
Bugs Bunny.
Exactly. And this is my issue with it. It's like, how can you be the Warner Brothers streaming service, or I guess technically it's a different subsidiary. It's not Warner Brothers, but somewhere in that hierarchy, in that umbrella. How can you be that streaming service and not have your main characters, not the original? Like, honestly, the fact that it's the original shorts almost makes it worse, because this is what started it all. Could you imagine if Disney Plus got rid of their Mickey Mouse shorts, all their Mickey Mouse and Friends shorts, the original ones? They would never do that.
Yeah. I mean, and it's even, I see Dami Ray, like Dami Ray era, Max is a joke, right? And Bat Dan, me and you, right, who have been to the WB Studios lot, right when you walk in and check in, Bat Dan, do you remember what's to your right before you go to the desk? There's like a whole mural and 2 statues, right, as you walk into that tour.
Mm-hmm.
It's Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck with a Looney Tunes background. And it's just like, you know, interesting. So yes, I agree, Dami. Max is a joke. Well, WBD is the joke, but it all kind of falls, fails up.
It's not a good sign. It's just not a good sign to me. It shows why Warner Brothers is failing.
And it's, hey, Looney Tunes is an IP, is it not?
It is.
So an IP that was known for that brand, right? Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes, synonymous, right?
Yes.
I remember Bat Dan. I'm older than you. I have my Batman 1989 VHS copy still, okay? Beginning of that, there was like an ad. And who is it? It's Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck talking about a VHS copy of Batman. And then they're talking about how you can mail in an order to receive your own VHS copy, which didn't really make sense to me, because I'm like, I have my VHS copy, I'm watching it, and they're like, oh yeah, get another one, right? So that's how they used to do it back in the day. You would mail, and it's in the mail order, and then you would get your VHS. And so I, synonymously growing up as a child, rewatching Batman 89, was always looking forward to the little cartoon short of Looney Tunes before Batman 89, just to see Daffy and Bugs. And I'll be honest, I'm more of a Daffy guy. I love him. And Wile E. Coyote. But I love Bugs Bunny. He's like the best, right? And going on that tour and seeing the history of Looney Tunes, right, and how it helped the studio, it's just kind of sad to see the state that WBD's in, but it is what it is. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, and their excuse is not good. They're like, oh, we want to market content towards more adults and not kids. I'm like, okay, first of all, I feel like the old Looney Tunes, I feel like more adults are going to be more interested in that than kids. It's like Shrek 5. Let's be honest here. More adults are going to be interested in that movie than kids. So don't give me that excuse. But yeah. And then the fact that the license off Coyote versus Acme. Is it Acme or Acme? How do you say that?
Acme.
Acme, yeah. So it is what it is, but shows that, as Sin Havoc says, what the?
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. That one.
Oh, that's who that is. Okay.
WB.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly, Socks. Exactly. But, there was some price stuff that came up too. The Man of Steel article that Zack Snyder. So let me just, do I have this? Okay, yes, good. I have this up right now. So share screen. Now, keep in mind, guys, Zack Snyder is not on Twitter very often. He is not on Twitter at all very often. And here he is right now sharing an article about the Man of Steel trailer. This is what this tells me, Josh. That this is a sign to me that something is happening. Because why is that the guy who doesn't go on Twitter, why is he now going on, now reposting a Man of Steel article?
Very true. All of a sudden, because you look at his history, right? And I'm looking at his timeline now. The last thing he tweeted was on December 31st, 2024, New Year's Eve, about Rebel Moon. And then March 9th, 2025. That's what that says, right? First thing in 2025 that he tweets. Interesting that it's a Man of Steel Superman article.
Yes.
A DC.
Exactly. Yes, exactly, Josh. Exactly. That's like the. Okay, it's not. Oh wait, I can just go on Zach's profile here.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking at. See,
you're right.
Right. It's Rebel Moon at the end of 2024, and it's almost like, in my opinion, if I'm looking at it, I'm like, ooh, interesting. Isn't there I think I heard that there's something with a legacy supposed to happen in 2025. So it's very interesting that this would be the first 2025 post from Zack Snyder, right?
Yeah, not in support of the new Superman movie, because supposedly they're friends right now, him and James Gunn, because they took that one picture together.
Interesting. Just interesting stuff.
So I just want to go through the article. Wait, is it? Okay, there it is. Sometimes this is not always. So we won't go through the whole thing. Just kind of, I hate these pop-ups. So there's one thing I really want to show that. See, and this is the article by Brad Curran, another Brad Curran article. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? And this one I really like. He talks about Zack Snyder has said Lord of the Rings. He compares this story to Lord of the Rings. Zack Snyder has always done that.
Yep. Mythology.
And I didn't even remember this though. Like that there were 2 trailers of this technically. And what else?
I mean, we celebrated.
And I like what he says here, that it basically is something. Go on.
I was going to say, we just celebrated the 10-year anniversary, right? So this is going to be the 12th anniversary this year, coming up in June. So interesting.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't need to go through the whole thing, but just wanted to kind of briefly show some of the stuff. But yeah, it's just the fact that they're still talking about this. And it's so funny. When I first saw this trailer, and a lot of people don't know, this is like right before I went skydiving or right after, or it was a combination of the two. I might have saw some of it before and then saw it after. But so like, why I'm saying this. So like seeing that Superman fly up into the stratosphere, that made me think about my skydiving. Like, oh yeah, that is really like, not that I skydive from that high because I need, a spacesuit for that, but
you were just going the opposite direction.
Yeah, well, that too. I'd go in the opposite direction of. plummeting down. Dressed like Batman, by the way. Dressed like Batman.
I've been 3 times, but I've never been dressed as Batman. So shout out to you.
You went skydiving 3 times?
I have. Yep. And I've actually been indoor skydiving twice, so technically 5. But the real thing 3 times, yes.
Yeah, the real thing.
I had a 4th schedule, but you find out once like age and like loved ones, and you're just kind of like, do I really need to chance this again? So I was just something after I had a 4th time scheduled and the weather was bad, and I was like, I think this is the universe telling me, no, you're good. 3 times the charm.
I mean, I survived. I didn't remember to pull my ripcord. I wasn't really listening to the instructions, though.
But luckily, that's why you go tandem.
But 3rd time you go by yourself, right?
That was what I was planning. I wanted to, and I wanted to get certified actually. And then I just was like, it was in college, and I was like, no, the money. And then I don't know. I started having nieces and nephews getting born, and I was just like, no, I don't need to do this. If I get certified, then I'm gonna want to jump out of a plane. The more times I jump out of a plane, things could go wrong. So I'm good. I'll leave the Supermaning stuff to Superman.
Fair
but
enough.
Indoor skydiving is a blast as well. And I did do that. I did do that as Batman in 2018.
Indoor skydiving.
Yeah, at Comic-Con, actually. They had for Batman's 80th anniversary at the San Diego Comic-Con Museum. There's a video. I got to skydive and capture the Scarecrow. It was like a VR, so you wore goggles and you had a Batman helmet, and you had like a zip-up thing with the Batman symbol, the yellow emblem. And everyone was freaking out because you can see in the video, they had to there had to be like 2 people in the indoor thing holding the person because they didn't know how to like keep their body. You can see there's only one guy holding me by my ankle because I already knew how to they were like, have you been skydiving before? I was like, yeah, 3 times. They were like, oh, you're a pro. They were like, we didn't have to hold you or anything. I was like, yeah, I've done this before. But yeah, it's a blast. If you definitely do it once, at least. If you can.
Oh yeah, the money is a big factor with this stuff, though, like anything. But
yes,
overall, though, with this, it was so great seeing an article like this and Zack sharing it. I'm just saying, if Zack is really done with DC, he's not going to be going out of his way to share articles about stuff like this. So, and there's another post we'll be talking about later on. But before we get to that, and Sox has been asking for some musicals, so I'm just going to sing a little bit. So, our Wonder Woman got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Gal Gadot got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Musicals. Sox Bulletins loves musicals. Since he loves bringing Christmas stuff to me, out-of-season Christmas stuff to me right now.
I saw that. Shout out to Sox.
Shout out to you, Sox. And I promise to get that last review we did out soon. Been very busy and very sicky lately. So, but anyways, much love to the Cordovan Speedster. And
I kind of agree. Although I will say, I've been saying this in some of the chats. I saw Snow White this week, the same day as her receiving her Hollywood Walk of Fame. Is it the best movie ever? No. Is it the train wreck that everyone's saying it is? No. Is people going to hate on Gal Gadot? Yes. Are people going to hate on Rachel Zegler? Yes. Unfortunately, that wig is horrendous. However, I will say I enjoyed the movie overall. Everything at first, I was like, ooh, like everything's just like Snow White casting, even Gal Gadot's at first, even the dwarves, even this. And then as the movie goes on, I found myself smiling, dancing, and having a great time. I ended up liking it. I did not pay for it. It was a free advanced screening. But I went with some friends, and they all loved it. So it is what it is. I know it's not doing well at the box office, but Gal is our Wonder Woman, and I went and I supported her, and I enjoyed it.
And that's fair enough. I mean, I think, honestly, Rachel Zegler killed that movie, going out.
You can tell, Batdan, I think the industry wants it to fail. You know why? Because the last Disney screening I went to was Mufasa. And I noticed, and I've been noticing because I've been going to these things. I go as just like a fan because Hollywood considers Texas middle America. So they want us to give our honest thoughts. And so we get to go to free screenings. We have to just get there early, line up outside the theater, and then they have cue cards and they're like, send us your survey. For Mufasa, right? And everybody was super against that because it came out against Sonic 3. But I'm here to tell you, Mufasa did better than Sonic 3. Sonic 3 was hot out the gate, but Mufasa surpassed it, okay? Mufasa's a great movie. I'm a big Beyonce fan. Y'all know this. Didn't really like Lion King 2019, but Mufasa was so much better. And there was nobody in the press. And after the screening with my friend who is part of press, we were talking. She was like, why are they giving this all Rotten Tomatoes? And then we found out that's something we always know. The industry is against Disney right now. And I think with Snow White, it was the same experience. There was no one. The theater was pretty much empty it's basically a press screening. And then if they have extra seats, they let the peasants like me come in. There was nobody with the Snow White. And unfortunately, we're not going to get into politics, but because of Rachel's stance and things like that, I think that is why the press is not even being invited. So they're trying to get these influencers, and there were influencers who used to go to my gym, young students who are now like 10 years ago, they were like nobody. And now they're influencers. And I saw a bunch of influencers and I'm like, interesting. So I'm kind of learning. I've been telling some people in the community how I've been learning things by going to these free screenings and seeing these top critics in the audience and seeing them sleeping during certain movies, but then giving a review. And I'm like, wow, okay, Variety, okay, Deadline, okay. And I'm like, it's kind of blowing my mind. So I'll just say, judge a movie for yourself. Don't go up by a freaking Rotten Tomatoes score. You can use that for whatever content and whatever clickbait thumbnail, fine. But be honest with yourself. You probably weren't going to go see Snow White to begin with, so it's easier for you to hate on it, right? Not everything is made for everybody, but I enjoyed it because I like Gal Gadot. So
that's fair, and that's and with Jamie, I think the two things. I think one is people are just now hating on her as an actress in general. I don't think they hate Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I don't think that happened. I think it's more of now she's not Wonder Woman. People criticize her bad acting because I do admit Gal Gadot works better with certain directors than others. But in my opinion, I think she's also grown a lot as an actress too. And I think there is a certain stance she has that's not popular with a lot of people. We'll say that. So I won't get too far into that, but
I will say this, I'll admit she has a musical number. And there are parts where I was just like, whoa, gal, okay, rein it in. But then as the musical number went on, I liked it more, right? She doesn't hit all, she's not a singer, okay? So she doesn't really hit all the notes. So I already know people are going to be trashing that, coming out of it. However, the routine and the characterization, because if you think of the evil queen, right, she's kind of just stone in the animated movie. She's stone cold, kind of. She has some expressions, right? I think Gal brought out a vicious side of herself, and I felt threatened by the evil queen. And so I've heard some critiques about she just brings beauty to it, and I'm like, well, that's a big part of the character. She's all about, she's like, who's the fairest of them all? She's worried about how she looks. So I think that she's cast well in that respect. So
yep, that's exactly what the evil queen's supposed to be. So
I'm just saying, make up your mind for yourself. Or if I'm being honest, I didn't pay for it, right? So I saw someone in the comments said that they didn't like it. Just stream it. It's more so a streaming movie, but I don't think you're gonna hate it by going to the theater and enjoying it, especially if you have little kids, right? There were little girls dressed as Snow White in my screening. And so everyone was loving it and it got applause at the end. The theater, like I said, was probably not even halfway full, honestly. And everyone was kind of spread out, but the people who were in the theater did enjoy it. So take that for what it's worth.
I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Josh. And really at the end of the day, that's all that matters. We're not riding on this. We don't have any stake in this one way or the other. And
It's Disney
know,
too, so I'm like,
ex-
you got enough
exactly,
money.
exactly. Disney has enough money, and I'm sure Zack Snyder's going to be giving Gal Gadot work soon. But anyways, so ironically, too, Josh, on 318 Day, on the anniversary of Zack Snyder's Justice League, is when Gal Gadot's ceremony is. What were your thoughts when you first heard Gal Gadot was getting a star?
Oh, I mean, it was about time. However, you got to preface and know, Dan. I don't know if you actually, because I gave you advice on how to go about doing the Walk of Fame, right? Just so you know, these stars are paid for. That's how you get a star, right? And so I remember the first time I went to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, they said they were right outside the Chinese theater. There, of course, they have like Star Wars, right? Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher. They have the Avengers, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo. And they were like, "Oh, if you need help finding a star, just come and ask us." And I was like, "Where's Ben Affleck?" They were like, "Oh, he doesn't have one." And I was like, "What?" And then I started talking to them, and they were like, "Yeah. They have to be paid for or sponsored by somebody." So Matt Damon, somebody paid and sponsored him. He has a star, but Ben Affleck is just like, "I'm good." He could have had one a long time ago. He probably will eventually. He'll probably buckle down when he thinks about his legacy, right? But yeah. So this was sponsored by somebody, and I think by who was at the event, you can kind of, figure out who was more the sponsor.
Yeah, well, actually, Damie says something that I really kind of do want to. I get a little annoyed with. So let me clarify. I had no problem with like the two people who spoke at the event and Zack Snyder not speaking at the event. That was not, or even Zack Snyder not being there. I didn't even mind that so much. But I saw the whole, well, as much as Variety was showing on YouTube, because the live stream cut in and out, I'm sure a certain cutout was for a certain thing that happened they didn't want to show on the live stream. But there are two things that kind of annoy me. One, they list Gal Gadot's entire filmography except for two movies: Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice and Zack Snyder's Justice League. They said Justice League, but not Zack. But when you say Justice League without Zack Snyder, that refers to Justice League, because that movie is officially called Justice League. And I feel like Zack Snyder should have gotten some acknowledgement, because let's be honest here. Zack Snyder is the reason that Gal Gadot's a star. Like, Zack Snyder is the one who cast Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Zack Snyder is the one who got her, who put her there. And she was in BVS long enough that should count as in her filmography. Like, it's not like it was some cameo. No, she was in it a good amount. She literally was in the third act fight scene, for crying out loud.
Nope.
So I'm glad you said that, Damien. But I guess what's your thoughts on that, Josh?
I mean, I honestly, like, because of like what Sox is saying, right? These are paid for, right? So I've seen the tweets and I understand your point, Dan. But I don't, it's a big picture kind of thing, right? And we know what happened during the event, right? And because of what's going on in the world, things that are out of our control. And I think that I don't really think either way. Like, it would have been nice if Zack was there, right? But it's not a testament of like, right, Zack's legacy with Gal, right? We all know, right? And I think I'm a huge fan of Wonder Woman 2017, and I know in this community it's not really accepted, but I'll say it for what it's worth, and I've said it on your platform before. Overall, I enjoyed Wonder Woman 84. I understand why people hate and loathe that movie. I do. For me, my mother's birthday was yesterday, which was also Wonder Woman's birthday. She grew up with Linda Carter's Wonder Woman. So did my aunt. They thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I enjoyed it because of what I was going through during the pandemic, losing an 8-year relationship, mourning that, relating to Diana as she's, sitting across from a dining room table set for two, right? But only one plate was being used, right? In one setting. And so I do like that movie. So Patty, being there, I understand it, all things considered. And I think it was more to help Patty too. Because what has Patty done other than Wonder Woman 84? I think she did a series with Chris Pine after that, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it kind of helps Patty also at the same time. So that's why I think it kind of, like I said, the sponsor.
I'm glad Patty Jenkins was there. Make no mistake. I'm glad Patty Jenkins was there. And again, I'm not even upset that Zack Snyder wasn't there. I just wish he got some acknowledgement. That's all I'm saying. I just wish some acknowledgement, but I also want to clarify, it didn't ruin the ceremony for me though. Like I think there was a lot of great stuff in there. I love from what I saw from Vin Diesel talking about family. I thought that was, which I know that's a big part of Fast and Furious too. I haven't seen the movies, but I've seen the memes.
Well, and that's also promotion back then. I mean, sorry, but you're I think 10 movies behind, but Gal Gadot shows up in the post-credit scene of the last movie that she will be in Fast 10. So
okay.
So it was a promotional thing as well. And I think that comes out later this year or next year. So Gal Gadot rejoining the Fast and the Furious is kind of a marketing thing too for Ben being there.
Okay. And okay, that's interesting, Sin Havoc.
Spoiler alert, and now she's all of a sudden back. We don't know how, we don't know why, but she's back. So maybe it's a twin. I don't know.
So I have a confession. I have not seen any of the Fast and Furious movies. I have no idea what they're about, but I do. But I haven't seen the movies in a while, so I accept I'm getting spoiled. So
for me, the reason I liked, I forget what it's called, Fast 9 or whatever. The last one, Jason Momoa, in my opinion, was the best part of that as the villain. And so seeing Gal come back in the post-credit scene, it's like, it's kind of teeing up a Aquaman versus Wonder Woman type showdown in a sense. So I was like, ooh, okay. And of course, John Cena's in there. So hopefully they take out Peacemaker.
Hello, Kobe. Well, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. I apologize, but I think this is your first time, so welcome to the channel.
What's going on, Kobe?
But you know what my favorite part of the ceremony of like that live stream wasn't even actually something that occurred. Well, I mean, it technically occurred during the ceremony, but not actually. Was basically there was a shot where Gal Gadot's looking, and then you see her daughter looking at her so proud. I love that. I love seeing that. That was such a cool moment to see, and seeing how much her children look up to her. That's so wonderful to see, and seeing that Gal Gadot has like a regular Joe husband, like not a celebrity that I know of. I don't think he's famous other than being Gal Gadot's wife, but it's nice. It's nice when I see celebrities marry just regular people. It's nice to see that. I don't know. It feels more like a genuine relationship because you know that celebrity's marrying out of love. There's no financial gain for that person, and that's what So just really seeing. And again, I'm not going to get too far into the personal lives of celebrities, but like I do think that I love seeing that family dynamic with them. That was such a nice moment to see, and seeing them pose together. I really love that. It was so nice to see. And even if that was promotion, I still believe the words were real. I still believe that Vin Diesel's words were real, as well as Patty Jenkins' words were real, and Gal Gadot's words too. It was really great to see. And I'm, regardless of the politics, like got her the star or not, at the end of the day, I think I'm proud to see Gal Gadot on there. I'm proud to see her legacy continuing on, because this is what people keep saying, oh, she's such a bad actress. She's such a bad actress. I'm like, look, she's not the best actress in the world. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say, oh, yeah, Gal Gadot's one of the best actresses out there. She's not, but she's growing a lot. And that's what I like seeing. She's like, one thing I will say, Josh, about Wonder Woman 1984, and this is maybe a hot take, I think that's one of Gal Gadot's best performances as Wonder Woman. Not necessarily how it's written, not how she's directed, just Gal Gadot's performances in general. I think she does a really good job. Like when she's saying bye to Steve Trevor, there's good stuff in that movie, and I liked that movie for a while. It aged poorly for me, but I'm not going to act like I always hated that film. That's just not.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense when you compare it to Wonder Woman 2017, BVS, Zack Snyder Justice League. So I agree with you. But as a standalone, like kind of like, hey, I think the Flash kind of messed up once or twice, and this is a separate divergent timeline. I kind of am okay with the fact that this is a kind of a spinoff, not connected to that, not connected to this, right? But it is what it is. It's a solo Wonder Woman tale, and yeah, it could be better.
Patty, see what you did there, but Patty Jenkins even did say that it stands on its own, because people See, people forget this part of the interview because people always go to, oh, yeah, we tossed Justice League out as much as the fans did. But people forget about that same interview. She was saying, I didn't want to contradict Zack Snyder's films, but I had to do my own movie, and Zack Snyder was supportive of it. So she even kind of admitted right then and there that this was kind of her own movie, that she wasn't really concerned about continuity with the rest of the DCEU. Aside from maybe Wonder Woman itself, there should be continuity with that movie at least, but
Yeah.
with the other movies.
Yeah.
Exactly sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're going to probably see clips of the musical number of Gal Gadot and Snow White, but it worked for me. I mean, she's just so you know, no spoilers, but she's an enchantress, essentially. She has powers. And so she has like a musical number and she's controlling like her guards and stuff and doing like an elaborate musical number while singing at the same time. So she's dancing and has these movements. And I was just kind of like, wow, this is something I've never seen Gal do before. And I appreciated that. There are some notes she could not hit, admittedly. I was like, oh, okay, go. You tried. But I appreciate that she tried, right? I'm sure it was, as an actress, she stepped out of her comfort zone, right? And being in a Disney movie where Rachel Zegler, not a big fan of her, but I got to admit, the girl can sing, right? So to be against Rachel Zegler, who's a better singer, Gal, I thought, held her own, and all the musical numbers were really good, in my opinion. I know we talked about musicals a lot last year. As someone who goes to musicals, goes to them, I can say that the songs were great in Snow White. So at least just listen to Gal's song if you get the chance and you're not even going to see the movie.
Socks, you hear that? The songs were good, Socks. The songs were good, Socks.
The songs were really good. I'm not gonna lie. I was enjoying. I had smiles on my face in every song.
But overall, though, I think this was a great moment for Gal Gadot, and it's one that I'm very appreciative of. And and look, I still stand with Gal Gadot. I still stand with her as an actress. I think she's a great person. I know this is not a popular take right now, but I'll say this with Gal Gadot. I truly believe she just wants the best for everyone. I truly believe that with her. I truly believe, I'll put it like this. Peace on both sides never should have gotten her canceled when she said that. That should not be a controversial statement. Wanting as little death as possible. And like I said, I don't like to get political on this channel. I avoid that like the plague. But so that's why I'm kind of dancing around it a little bit. But I do believe that Gal Gadot just wants the best for the best outcome out there with as little bloodshed as possible. And I don't think that should be. I don't think that should be cancelable. I don't think that should be controversial. I think that should be an accepted stance among everyone. So I stand with Gal Gadot. I stand with her as a person. I think she's a great person, and I think she's growing as an actress. And again, money or not, whether she paid for it or not, I do think this is a moment that she deserves, and one I'm really happy for her. And that our Wonder Woman has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame forever. Like, that is not something that I can get angry about. And oh my God, Socks, you're. So, anything else you want to say about what I just said, or Gal Gadot having her star?
I support Gal Gadot. I support peace. I support people, right? And people are not perfect, right? But then you look at the background of those people, and you look at context, and you look at everything, and you make an informed decision, right? It's easy to just judge somebody with politics in general and dismiss them, or not wanting to listen to them, or villainize them, right? We got to be better than that. If anything, I will say we are being pitted against each other, right? Not just as Snyder fans, but as people in this world. Yeah. So are you going to let them win? Because by just fighting amongst each other, it's not going to get anything done. Blaming people, villainizing them, calling them a Zionist. And there's a lot of people in this community who are guilty of this, right? So I just don't know what's more important to you, right? I guess just being a perfect person and not making flaws, or not, it's easy to Sunday morning quarterback, right? To judge somebody from your couch and cast judgment. I would think that Gal is our Wonder Woman. I think Gal Gadot is doing what the best she can, and I fully support her, as I know you do, and this community does.
Exactly, Josh. Well, very well said, Josh. Very well said. Exactly what I feel. And I'm just gonna end it like this, guys. Just make sure if you're ever fighting for something, make sure you're not fighting for your egos. That's all I'm gonna say. I think there's a lot of people who just, in general, who just fight for stuff because they want to feel good about themselves, not because they're informed and actually can say this. So,
yes.
Point is, Gal Gadot, she deserves this. She's a great actress. She's our Wonder Woman. And happy birthday to Wonder Woman, because I know, Josh, you were calling that out too, that it's also Wonder Woman's birthday. They date the birthday of her creation.
Yesterday, it was actually my mother's birthday, which so happens to be Diana Prince's birthday, and my mother's middle name is Diana. Coincidence?
Oh.
So shout out to Aries season.
Shout out to Mama Josh Herrera. Mama Herrera.
Should love that.
And now we had something very exciting come up. So let me go back to Zack Snyder's profile. Okay, here we are. So presents, share screen. Zack Snyder's profile. Now, I'm not going to show this video because that could be copyright, but one of the best tributes I've seen. So shout out to Floyd Lawton, by the way.
Shout out Floyd. Man,
still can't believe it's almost been 4 years since the comic book film that became a global phenomenon was released. Set the standard so high that the quality level of the film, alongside Man of Steel and BVS Ultimate Edition, has been unachievable ever since. 318. SellZSJL to Netflix. Sell SnyderVerse to Netflix. Tweeted by our own, as Leon would say, Zachary Edward Snyder. With the sell hashtags included in this. And I want to kind of clarify a comment because I think a lot of people are getting confused by my comments. And love you, Sin Havoc. But anyway, the video was playing. Don't want that. So, anyways, when Skiiwalker went to full circle and had Zack Snyder sign his poster, Skiiwalker asked him to write the hashtag SellZSJL to Netflix, sell SnyderVerse to Netflix. Zack wrote SnyderVerse, sell it, because he's not a Netflix. He didn't want to speak for Netflix. Zack can't do that. Zack Snyder cannot speak for Netflix. And this is what people need to understand. And I want to kind of clear, because I think there's a lot of confusion too. When I say this is Zack Snyder's first time acknowledging the hashtags, what I mean is, yes, Zack Snyder was asked if he would do it if Netflix got the rights, and he said yes. That's one thing. He was asked the question, he answered it. That he didn't go out of his way to say it. He didn't say Netflix do this. He was just saying, hey, if Netflix had the rights and I could do it, absolutely. Paraphrasing, obviously. But Zack Snyder himself went out of his way, and now he's retweeting those hashtags. If he's not allowed to speak for Netflix, he can't do that. If this is something that, if saying those hashtags will get him in trouble, it doesn't matter. It does not matter if he's just retweeting it for that video. If Netflix sees that, and he's not supposed to do that, they're not going to look at, he just means that video. They're going to see, you retweeted those hashtags. Zack, that's not okay. Zack, you can't do that. Zack would get in trouble unless something changed. Something is happening. And if Zack had wrote, if let's say the hashtag said, I don't know, hashtag, we'll say hashtag cancel Gal Gadot. We'll just say, hypothetically, that was the hashtag that was there instead of the sell hashtags. Zack Snyder wouldn't have retweeted it. He wouldn't have done that because that would be against his Wonder Woman. So you can't just say, he did it because of the video. If you retweet something, you retweet or repost. You repost everything. You can't just say, I beat it for only this and not that. I know some people do that, but celebrities, people in the know, they can't do that because they get in a lot more trouble for something like that. But anyways, Josh, I went on a bit of a ramble here. What's your thoughts on this?
I think it's very interesting for context that Floyd Lawton, Deadshot of the Cell Movement, shout out to him, made this tribute, right, in posts and included the Cell hashtags, followed the ROEs. And I know some people don't like the ROEs, but as stated by the leaders of this movement, it is there for a reason, to be effective, right, and have clear messaging. And it also, if you noticed, had the @ and tagged to Netflix. And then this occurred March 15th, 2025, several days before the anniversary of the Snyder Cut being released, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Looking at that, right? Yes, Zack has in the past liked the hashtags. He's liked posts with restore, make the bat flick, release the Snyder Cut, release the air cut, sell, right? But then this is momentous because not only did he do it days before the trending event, but he reposted something. Once again, making his second DC post, right? We just talked about the Man of Steel article. Then right after that, his second post. So the first one was on March 9th, Man of Steel. And then on March 15th, he retweets that tribute to the SnyderVerse, including the Cell hashtags following the ROEs. So Zack Snyder knew to repost something that followed the ROEs. Interesting.
Yes.
Right? Or trending.
And on Twitter, again, platform he does not go on very often. And I know people, look, yes, Zack has liked restore. Zack has liked release. Zack has reposted this. I've done that too. Josh has done that too before. And I know Zack has done it more recently after So got created. But the difference is you're not necessarily speaking for a company there. Like, now you're speaking for Netflix. That's the key difference is what people aren't. And again, I think a lot of people are misunderstanding, or honestly, I think some people are pretending to misunderstand because they don't want to lose a Twitter argument, whatever. But anyways, if Zack is reposting this as of recently, as of like now, to me, this is what I recommend using. Look, here's my thing with this channel. I know some people like to be neutral and they like to use all the hashtags. They want to appease to everyone. And so I don't do that. That to me is like, I'm always going to be honest about how I feel. So I'm going to put it like this. I respect restore. I don't support restore. So like, I'm not going to go after anyone in this chat for using restore. Okay. I mean, I prefer you don't do it on this show too much, but I'm not, if you do restore on your channel or on your profile and you feel that's what's best for you, fine. That's what you should do. But if you're asking me to say what I feel is the best thing, I'm not going to say, well, use them all because I want to remain neutral. No, I'm going to give my honest opinion because that's, even if you don't like it. And I think it's Cell. I think Cell, and this will kind of go a little bit more at the end of this, but to me, this shows me Cell is the way to go. This is the most recent thing Zack Snyder has done. And now the fact that Zack can actually post it, say Netflix, not just ask about it and say yes, going out of his way to say something to Netflix. This is huge, and shout out again to you, Floyd Lawton, for getting this repost from Zack. Like, you accomplished a lot for the movement right there. And I guess, Josh, anything else you want to say?
No, I agree with you. I mean, we both, I think, have took the stance, right? And we're very friendly with like accounts like Make the Bat Fleck, Release the Air, right? And we don't care. As long as, and we'll talk about it, but very similar to what a recent Green Lantern said, if you're bringing awareness to the IP, I think it as a big picture and you zoom out, that's what's most important. There's a demand for this, so I get that. I still have a pinned tweet where I say hashtag restore the Snyderverse. And I remember, and I talked about this, like I remember what we accomplished, 1.5 million tweets, right? On the anniversary. I think it was the 2-year anniversary or 1-year anniversary of Restore, but that has not gotten us anywhere. All it's done, right? We had movement, right? Where with the Flash and some of the 2023 movies, right? But then some people who are part of Restore chose to boycott all those movies where movement was being made, interestingly. So I don't Black Adam,
especially
Shazam,
well, Shazam,
Aquaman
Shazam, Well, Shazam and Blue Beetle aren't really too Snyder related,
But
but
there
I
were
think.
appearances that were being with Zach's cast, is my point.
Oh,
So,
okay, yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest, I loved all of those movies. I know there's a lot of talk about Aquaman 2. I admit, I have a tweet. I liked Aquaman 2. I did. Do I want to see the Ben Affleck cut stuff? Yes, I do. I liked Blue Beetle. Do I want to see the Ben Affleck cut cameo? Yes, I do. I want to see, all the studio tampering. Shazam 2, it was okay. I love Gal. It's unfortunate that didn't materialize for that sequel, but now we're in a situation where we don't have any DCU, right? So I rocked out with those movies, and it was very interesting that the Restore crowd chose to boycott those. I respect Restore. I don't personally feel like it's the right way to go, but I'm not gonna. I like tweets with anything, right? I just am more focused on being effective, right? And I think that's the sentiment you have as well. I think we got to change things. We got to evolve. We've been hashtagging Restore since the Snyder Cut, going on 4 years now, right? I think we did less time wise. We did release, since 2017, and it took a little while because of the pandemic and stuff, but we got it. We got it released.
3 years till the announcement.
So now we're going on 4 with Restore not working. So we got to change things up, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of feel about things. We can't be insane and keep doing the same thing to no end. From my knowledge, more articles and more buzz has been circulating because of hashtag SellZSJL and hashtag SellSnyderVerse, because it's a crazy concept. It's going against this whole studio model and the way that media is made, right? It's ruffling feathers of the industry. And guess what? That's just like something Zack Snyder would do. So that's the reason why I support it. I think it's the best way to go, but I support all the hashtags. Hashtag what you want, as long as you're keeping it positive and keeping the IP alive. I just support hashtag SellZSJLToNetflix, hashtag SellSnyderVerse to Netflix. But peace and love to all the hashtags.
And that's a good way to go. That's a good way to go. It's it's being respectful, but not pretending that we just want to support everything just to make everyone happy, because that's not what we're gonna do. And what you said with boycotting, especially Black Adam, because at the time Warner Brothers Discovery had done no wrong to us yet. There was nothing wrong they did to us, and our Superman was returning.
Mm-hmm.
And I never understood the boycott for that, because that boycott was all about ego. That boycott was not about anything other than ego. But you know what? Spilt milk, and especially if you claim to support Ezra Miller, how can you boycott the Flash movie and be like, oh, I support Ezra Miller, but I'm boycotting his movie? Anyway, another rant. We've already done that rant, but Cell's the way to go. This shows it, and we had some great stuff, like the leader of Cell. So let me pull this up. So Skiiwalker the Jedi. Let me get this out of the way real quick with his poster, with the very poster where Zach wrote SnyderVerse sell it. So, but there's 2 versions of this, so okay, this one's a little bit better. Now you can kind of see some of the pictures on it a little bit better. So we were wondering, what's Project Red Sun? What's Project Red Sun? I was wondering that. And then to see it that morning, luckily I hadn't left for work yet, so I could do a 1 tweet reacting to this before all my scheduled tweets went out, or post. Whatever, I go back and forth. But Skiiwalker, shout out to you, man. Shout out to you for showing Netflix with the very poster that Zach signed. Like this, like you outdid yourself this time, Sky. You completely outdid yourself this time. But I went on talking for a little bit. Josh, what's your thoughts on seeing this? And I'm just gonna.
A lot of gratitude, right? This man has been going through a lot since I've known him, and even before I knew him in person. Seeing the amount of trolling, seeing the amount of hate that comes his way just for having an idea that a lot of people like to dismiss as wacky or delusional, it's never going to happen, when literally we just talked about Looney Tunes, right? They're literally trying to sell the IP of the Bourne Identity franchise. They're literally like so many IPs are on the market right now. James Bond, right? Just got recently. Like it's just so crazy to me that this one idea, this hashtag, right? Oh, it's too wacky. But everything else is getting sold and WB's okay. So let's not be hypocritical here. Let's be adults, okay? This man is going out of his way to further this idea and further the messaging. And I think it takes a lot of guts and a lot of testicular fortitude to do that. Nobody else in the fandom did a post like that on 318, but he did.
Nope.
And I know people have probably opinions about some people in the movement, or, you know, I think a lot of times the hashtags aren't really the blame. They really want to blame the people behind the hashtags for whatever they have grudges against. But this idea is a good one, in my opinion. I've had nothing but respect with this community. Y'all have embraced me after full circle, right? I've always been a Zack Snyder fan, even before hashtag sell. I go to Comic-Cons, I cosplay, right? I've interacted with the cast. And I just think that this energy, this Zack Snyder type energy that Skiiwalker the Jedi, Leon of the New Geeks, the Good Austin, W Necron, and everyone.
Force of habit.
Yeah, I know. We go back. Everyone, you know, this energy is all about continuing on, because we were all hashtagging restore and fire James Gunn, Peter Safran, weren't we? Because I know I was guilty of that. But
Me too.
This idea put out positivity. Instead of channeling hate and anger, you're putting positivity, right? And of course, the ops don't like that effectiveness. So all the hate is coming towards, you know, Super Sky and Leona the New Geeks and the other cool table members. So I applaud them for continuing on and also putting out AFSP charity campaigns, continuing to do that.
Yes.
It kind of got drowned out, unfortunately, but that was an amazing thing, right? That they're doing and supporting and putting out art for us, and also simultaneously supporting AFSP. So applause to the Cool Table and the Syndicate Network.
Exactly, Josh. Exactly. And I'm going to add the link to those shirts in the description, because I think that's really important. Austin did a great job on those designs. And yeah, and this is what I like about what Sky did, though. It's not just engagement, because people, again, it's what you said earlier. People keep bragging about 1.5 million tweets. You got to do restore still. It's like, yeah, but as you said, that didn't go anywhere. That didn't, people try to say, someone tried to use that same argument with Cell, except Cell's a lot younger than restore. In fact, Cell is gone on less years than the Snyder Cut did before getting the cut announced. But so that's the key difference there to the person who argued with me about that. But anyways, this was actual engagement. Sky showed actual engagement. Went to Netflix, dressed in a Superman suit, showed the poster. Like, this actually means something. Anyone can write on Twitter. I mean, I can do it right now. It's easy. Like, just to illustrate a point. I'm just going to illustrate a point real quick. So I'm just going to see. Look at how easy this is. SellZSJL to Netflix. Sell SnyderVerse to Netflix. At Netflix, post. That was easy. That was super easy to do. And that's important to do. Make no mistake. Those hashtags are important to do, but you need a combination of that. You don't just want hashtags. You need actual engagement too. That's why, Sky hosts these trending events. He hosts cartoons and cereal, watch parties for Zack Snyder's projects. I've done that. Josh has done that. We've done that for the Flash movie. We've done that for, other DCU movies, with reviews on them. And exactly, it's part of the mission. You need the combination. And that's what makes the difference. Showing Netflix, showing our interest. And so that's why I really like this event. And I like that we're not, shout out to the people who donate to the billboards. I've done that too. But at the end of the day, I don't want to, spend all this money on stuff like I don't know. Like that's just again why I don't want to spend money on WBD's advertising or Netflix's advertising. That's not our job as fans. Like they know what we want. It's out there. And I mean, again, I'm not saying I won't ever donate to a billboard, but that's why I really like this. So that's why I really like what Sky did right here. And that's why it's really important. Showing, I mean, he is the leader of the movement. So he has a lot of he steps up a lot more. And this was a really good project. I love seeing that. I love seeing him taking advantage of the fact that he lives in LA. I mean, I do stuff like this, but Chicago's far away, and I'm not. I mean, look, I want the SnyderVerse, but I'm on a budget right now for certain reasons. But I'm not going to be going to LA for every training event. So, but yeah, overall, Sky did a great job. This was a great thing he did, and people are really noticing it. Like, I mean, another thing, Josh. Brad Curran, this article right here. Let me just get this one. Here we are. Yes. So, yes, I know, Sin Havoc. I know, Unprepared Dan, which, by the way, if you're going to do a hashtag, you can't put dashes in hashtags, so it breaks up the hashtag. Like some people you can't put dashes, you can't put ampersands. So, Brad Curran with another article. Suddenly, SellZSJLToNetflix to Netflix is looking like a great idea. And including the rights to sell it. Exactly. He's calling it out a fantastic idea. People want, and as these calls right here, again, I'm kind of just breezing through the article. The link to the article is in the description, by the way. The link to the article is in the description, but it's what he called. It's the key thing that he calls out right here. Following the release of the Snyder Cut, made ongoing calls for Zack Snyder's 5-movie DCU arc to be completed. First with Restore. Then the James Gunn reboot happened, which is why Sky shifted to Cell. And actually, it turns out it's not an absurd one, and Warner Brothers should consider it because, as he points out here, we're not asking for all of DC, but just these particular projects, like Lucifer, a DC IP that Netflix had the rights to do the show for. They don't have the rights for that project, but they can't put Lucifer in their other projects. As Mikey Sutton says, if this happens, Superman can't show up in Stranger Things. That's not how that works. They just have the rights to do the last 2 movies. I mean, to clarify, I know we're not demanding it has to be a movie. It's easier for me to say movie, to say what it was supposed to be, and then if it changes, call it something different. But I'm not going to be like movie or series. When I say movie, I mean movie. But okay, Sin Havoc, much better. Much better. And oh my God, socks.
Socks.
But licensing the SnyderVerse is a common Hollywood practice. Yep. Like DC's The Cape Crusader. Batman.
Yep. I mean,
and the key thing right here. Go on.
No, it's just interesting, right? Everything, even DC properties getting licensed out to other studios, but it's crazy for this Netflix idea. It's just interesting.
And they struggle. Their financials are bad right now. Is that they're not making? I mean, look at this. Their stock was $77.27 per share, March 2021, right when the Snyder Cut came out, no less. Mm-hmm. And now they're at, like, as of the date of this article, $6.96 per share. So
isn't it funny that the entire industry was like in jeopardy, right, with COVID, with these shutdowns, right? And Max was being launched, right? So they needed basically the Snyder Cut, and how everyone in the industry who was anti-Justice League, right, and hated Zack Snyder, all of a sudden after the Snyder Cut, oh wow, it really was it was a different movie. And then now, Rebel Moon sucks and la 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 la. So the industry got helped saved by this man, and has kept the company afloat by literally being helped by Snyder fans, helping launch Max. I know I signed up as soon as I heard ZSJL Snyder Cut was being released. I signed up. I ended up canceling last year, right before Creature Commandos. So I no longer have Max. I know Zach encourages that, and I was like, I got the physical copies, Zach. I have multiple physical copies. Sorry, I can't support that as a company anymore. You're putting out stuff like that, CC, and Peacemaker. But you know, it's interesting how that article points out everything else can get licensed, but Zack Snyder's, no. It's almost like they don't want it to. So I think that means that we're doing the right thing. That's what I think.
Well, because again, I think James Gunn doesn't want it to happen. You know, James Gunn's in bed with the studios and done with the Holly Weird, and Netflix isn't so much. So and Brad Curran isn't either. So that's why this is looking more, he's telling the truth about what will happen. Because the thing is, Zaslav is broke. They need money. And here's the thing. Unlike, you know, the Batman Part 2, unlike Superman and Lois, unlike the Smallville animated series that's no longer happening. You know what all three of those have in common that Cell doesn't? Warner Brothers Discovery has to pay money for it to happen. So Gunn, it's easier for Gunn to talk his way out of it. But if Netflix has a chance to just make money, not spend money, you think the shareholders aren't going to be like, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing this? Because if this was something that was supposedly going to outdo Superman Legacy, why aren't you doing Zack Snyder Justice League 2 and 3? That's the big question. Why aren't you doing Zack Snyder Justice League 2 and 3 if this is something that would outdo Superman Legacy or Superman 2025, whatever you want to call that movie that's likely going to suck? That's the reality of it. And yeah. But it just shows the highlight that this movie is getting, the attention, the positive spin that this movement is getting. That's why it's important to follow the ROEs. That's why we ask that you don't use restore and sell at the same time. Or at least separate your post. At least separate your post, people. Just like do a sell post, do a restore post. At the very least, do that. Just don't mix that. Don't put the hashtags together, though. Especially don't do more than 2, because that defeats the purpose, actually. So... But yeah, anything else you want to say about this article, Josh?
No, shout out to Brad. Brad Curran's been a great supporter of this idea, and he supports Restore as well. He supports he supports Release the Air. He supports everything, just like us. But he just understands, he's an adult and knows the big picture. He writes for Screen Rant. I've had some DMs with him. Shout out to you, Brad, if you're watching. Mad respect for you keeping this alive, and he also does charity work with AFSP. With the Sci-Fi Center. So I commend you for continuing Zach's legacy and the Snyder legacy and keeping awareness up. And I think that articles like this is not the only article, but it's needed now more than ever. So thank you to Brad.
Thank you, Brad. Exactly, Josh. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Brad, for covering the movement. And again, it's okay that you cover other movements. We don't care. We just want to show that this one is being shown, is that this one is the way to go at the end of the day. And Cell had some great accomplishments that other stuff happened that day too. Like, let me just show the numbers real quick from shout out to, let me pull this up. Yeah, Frank C. Shout out to Frank C. Because I'm just going to show, it's in the thumbnail, but just so you can get a better picture of it. So, Frank C. So, trending in entertainment. 15.5K pulse. Sells SnyderVerse to Netflix. It reached that high. I had a screenshot of like 12, but like that was 15. So like, it did numbers. And also, I mean, unlike you, Josh, I do still have Max because I have some other people in my family who watch it. So I'm like, I'll keep it. And it's funny because I never watch Zack Snyder Justice League on Max anymore because I'm like, I have it digitally. I own the physical copies. Why do I need to watch it on Max? But I only did it that time because Zach's encouraged us to do it. I'm thinking, if Zach is telling us to do it, it's for a reason. And again, I'm not, if you don't want to subscribe to Max just to do that, I get that. But since I already have Max, it's like, I better do it. If I'm subscribed to Max and Zach is saying to do it, do it. And again, that was a work day for me. So like, I basically have 5 hours of free time after work before I have to go to bed. And I'm gonna be honest, I never skip to the center cut without pausing. I always have to get up once to use the bathroom, to get dinner, to make food for myself. And actually, during Zack Snyder's recommended intermission, I even took a shower between part 4 and 5, where Zack says to take the long intermission. I even did that. So, but that was another thing I thought was really interesting that day too. So something is happening. I'm just saying stuff is happening. I guess, Josh, what are some other thoughts you have about Trending Day, about what I commented on and what other stuff you experienced?
I did see the Mippy Mod, the actress with Cyborg, the mother, Linda Park, who, is caring for the child. And Cyborg has that powerful scene where he, fills her bank account. She does also like my post with the hashtag, several of those. She likes Restore as well. I think these actors also just like, they just like this universe and they like working with Zack. So they're going to do it in whatever way possible. But that's also, something to mention. Ray Porter, no longer active on Twitter, but he does have Instagram and supports it as well. I think that it was just a great day, right? It was a great day. There were a lot of reminders of Autumn Snyder's AFSP charity campaign, and I really appreciated that as someone who's been affected by suicide as well. And I will say, even though I honestly did delete my Max Batman, so I don't pay for it. However, my sister got divorced, and her husband had an Amazon Prime account, which had Max linked to it. So this weekend, guess what I was watching? On Max, even though it's not, and I still have, even though my sister got divorced, my TV still has the login, so I still have access to Max. I just don't pay for it. So ZSJL and actually BVS, I was watching BVS and then ZSJL was on the TV this weekend.
Oh, nice.
I still supported you, Zach. I still supported you.
Good, Josh. Glad you did. And actually, I was scrolling because I actually remember there's something else that we need to call out too. I can't believe I almost forgot this. I think it's Floyd Lawton again. So shout out again to you, Floyd. Talking about the Emerald Cut.
Forgot about that. That's the whole reason I wore this shirt. Yep. Wayne T. Carr, our Green Lantern, our John Stewart. Going out of his way, because as we know, as supporters of hashtag SellZSJLToNetflix, hashtag SellSnyderVerse Netflix, a lot of people choose, for whatever reason, it's okay, but they choose to hashtag Restore the Snyderverse with hashtag SellSnyderVerse, but ignore the first hashtag. So it's just very interesting that Wayne went out of his way to use the neglected hashtag, right? Because hashtag SellZSJL to Netflix it trended, but it didn't trend as high because most people were hashtagging Restore with hashtag SellSnyderVerse to Netflix. So I love that Wayne just kind of, it's kind of nudging you. He's kind of nudging you in a direction, in my personal opinion. I don't know. It just kind of seems that way to me. And I think with willpower, we can persevere and get amazing, we accomplish wonders, basically. So shout out to Wayne T. Carr. And shout out to the Lethal Geeks for having him yesterday on the podcast. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, shout out to Lethal Geeks. Good job for getting Wayne T. Carr on your show. That was amazing. That's definitely a huge... And Bishop, where are you, Bishop? Thanks for stopping by. I wish you were here a little bit earlier, though, because I know you're a big Wonder Woman person, so you'll have to catch the beginning on replay. You got to catch that topic on replay. I'll try to get that time stamped.
I did defend Wonder Woman 84, so as only I know how.
Yeah, probably DC Talks, I'm sure. I mean, you had Ezra Miller, we were talking about with Zod Rider on their Penguin review. Well, later on, not during the Penguin review itself, but Ezra Miller's ring. Ezra posted a picture with with the Flash ring because, unlike the Invincible creators, Zack Snyder did not abandon Ezra Miller. And in case you're wondering, it didn't air yet, but when you see me talking about that I don't watch Invincible anymore on the next Marvelous discussions, I don't watch it because I do not support them after they recast Ezra Miller. I don't believe the scheduling conflict excuse. I don't believe that. So Zack Snyder, though, is the GOAT and supports his cast. But anyway, bit of a tangent right there, but something is definitely happening. I mean, Ben Affleck keeping that relationship with Ray Fisher, working with him again. I mean, stuff is happening. Stuff is happening.
I love that the Lethal Geeks, shout out to Rock Talks, I believe it was him. They brought it up. They were like, hey, we saw that you on 3/18 supported on the anniversary of the Snyder Cut, and you used a certain hashtag, right? And so you used hashtag SellZSJLToNetflix, SellSnyderVerse. And he said, oh, Wayne went out of his way to speak up and say, wouldn't that be amazing to sell ZSJ out of Netflix? So we know part of this movement, that's the first step. That's why that's the first hashtag, right? When you see Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Snyder Cut on Netflix, it's over. It's over because then ultimately hashtag sell SnyderVerse Netflix is the next
in the
step.
US, clarify, because technically it has been on.
Yep. So it's not like it's wacky to a certain co-head because it's happened. Okay. So don't try to gaslight us. We're not drones like that other company that you can just kind of get away with murdering. We are Spartans. We got willpower.
How? Oh God, I hope my neighbors don't hear that out of context.
I was like, my neighbors are probably gonna hear me.
But I have a YouTube as proof for that. So, but yeah, shout out to Lethal Geeks for getting Wayne T. Carn and for getting him to speak out on the subject. I'm sorry I have not seen that yet. I've just stuff I can't say yet publicly, but exciting stuff that I've been very busy with. So
awesome interviews. Check it out when you can.
Yeah, exactly. And I definitely will. Probably when it breaks up in the clips because that's so much. When you're behind and you see stuff in clips, it's so much easier. It's so much easier.
No, the full thing is worth it. He's at the beginning of it, so I definitely recommend it.
Okay, but yeah, other than that though, there's so much great stuff that happened this day, and I hope to get either that Emerald cut or somehow Zack can incorporate that scene in ZSJL 2. I'm actually one of the few people that'd be fine with that because they don't have to convince a bunch of people to watch another cut of the movie. It's a lot for the general audience, that is. I mean, we would do it, but still, though, I mean, I still want Wayne T. Carr to get his justice because he deserves it. And I think that's because he's going to support it because, unlike these other actors, he wasn't shown. The only reason is because us fans embraced him, but the general audience has no idea who he is. Like, he wasn't in the movie, so they don't know. But
and
yes.
Isn't it interesting that this shirt, right, has the full look of John Stewart, Green Lantern from the Snyder Cut?
Here, let me pull you up, actually. Do it.
Interesting that this shirt, where did the Cell people get this from? That's what I wonder. Just saying. Shout out to Noel Leon Flores, world-renowned artist.
Oh, right. Yeah. Noah's designed so many shirts. Actually, I'm wearing a shirt designed by him, too.
Mm-hmm. I got that, too. I got the one with red, though. The logo's in red.
I have this one and gold. I have the gold one, too.
Oh, yeah. I got the gold one, too. Look at us.
But only so much money that we can spend on all these shirts. But overall, the Cell Trending Day was a good day. It was a good event for everyone. We showed our support. And you know what? Even the restore stuff. I mean, again, at least it showed demand for the SnyderVerse. I'll give it that. I prefer that you guys don't mix the hashtags. Do separate posts at least. It's not about trying to cover it all. It's more about these are separate messages. We want to keep the messages separate. So I'm going to say this. What up, DC Talk? Thank you.
Yes, he is.
Highlight that. But But anyways, just do separate posts. That's our request. We can't, obviously, you're grown people. You can do what you want, but at least do the post. Meet in the middle. Meet in the middle. Just at least do them as separate posts, because that's actually worse than not doing the hashtags at all, is mixing them. So, but yeah, I guess anything else you want to say before we move on to our last topic?
If you look back at Zack Snyder's timeline, it's interesting. Within the month of March, his birthday month, and Debbie's birthday month as well, Zack has now tweeted 3 consecutive DC posts in 2025. Same year when a rebooted Superman movie, or retcon Superman movie, is coming out. Interesting. And doubled down and posted the tribute that Floyd Lawton posted with the hashtag SellZSJLToNetflix, Sell SnyderVerse Netflix. He doubled down and put it on his own platform, Vero, True Social. Very interesting. That's all I'm
right. Say. And the original trailer of the Snyder Cut with Warner Max before that got dissolved.
Yep. He also reposted the trailer, the Justice is Gray trailer.
So Zack ain't done. Unlike a certain person who is like, did we ask Zack? You know what? I'm going to actually jump to this right now because this transitions us perfectly. Zack has said he was interested, okay? Whether Zack has said it multiple times, Zack is interested. Zack was asked plenty of times. So cut that virtue signaling out.
You know who you are.
What to do going forward, though? What to do going forward is we got to keep showing our demand, showing our interest. And as we kind of discussed earlier, Sell is definitely the way, guys. Okay, let's just be honest here. If you're asking our opinion, we've said this already, Sell is the way. Use what hashtag you think is best, but if you're going to ask our opinion, it's Sell. And show the interest, show the demand, show Netflix that we want this. We got to keep doing that. We got to keep hashtagging, keep doing engagement events too. Watch stuff on Netflix. Justice League, the animated series, the original and unlimited, still on Netflix. Yep. Watch that. Check that out. And every time there's a new project by Zack Snyder or one of his actors, I know the LAPD movie, when that comes out, watch that. Ben Affleck's RIP movie, which, again, I'm telling you, every time I see that movie, that talk about that movie in the press, and Ben Affleck, I'm like, oh, shit. And then I realize, oh, the movie. Okay.
And
our Supergirl, too.
Sasha, I was going to say, Sasha Kaye, I didn't get to see her, but she was out South by Southwest as well. It looked gorgeous. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to see Supergirl and Ben Affleck together on Netflix.
Exactly, Sin Havoc. Sell is the only way. It's working. So, yes, that's what we are going to say to do. Sell ZSJL to Netflix, sell SnyderVerse to Netflix. If you want the SnyderVerse, this is the way. Do what you feel is best, absolutely, but I'm not going to pretend that, all of them are good, all of them are, I'm neutral. No, I'm not doing that. Sell is the way. If we are asking our opinion, sell is the way. That's what we need to do to go forward. Support that. Next time a DC movie that's not a James Gunn movie, support that too, because we got to show Netflix there is interest in Zack Snyder, DC, and his actors. So anytime something comes up, and watch it, support it. And Josh, I guess, what are your thoughts? What should we do going forward?
Well, I'll just say Wayne T. Carson Havoc, of course, tweeted Sell, but that's not been the first time, right? He's tweeted it several times. So, and we also got a logo from him, also. So thanks to Wayne T. Carr. I think that, I just know what's working is being positive, not being caught up in petty, Twitter argument threads. If other people want to engage in that, that's fine. But then you also got to remember there's those tweets, right? Screenshots, right? So even though you can delete tweets, when you're arguing with people, those live on forever, right? So don't get caught up in that. People have asked me how I get through it. I don't let people bother me, right? I stay positive. I stay in my lane, and I do what I think in my heart that is authentic to who I am, that is genuine, and has no other, motivation other than helping bring justice, right? That's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for justice for this man, for his family, for us. We're fighting for justice for ourselves, right? So I love the fact when Endgame was coming out, Captain America, some people move on, not us, right? I love that. And I'm stealing that because we know that that movie stole from our favorite IP. So yeah, it's so funny for me that MCU, you know, diehard shills, which I'm a fan of both, right? I'm a fan of DC and MCU, but it's time for you to move on. Time for you to move on. When their own Captain America didn't move on back in 2019, had to go and time travel just to save the whole freaking universe, but he didn't. It's the universe is still breaking if you're not paying attention. So
Yep.
yeah, it's interesting. I'm just going to keep doing what I believe in. I respect everyone who believes in something different. That's the great thing about this country and this world. Everyone can believe what they want. But I just think that we are making progress over here. I think it's interesting that our Green Lantern kind of, you know, made a point. Zack Snyder made a point. If you don't want to listen to that, that's your prerogative. But we will be backing the GOAT, like Wallace says in BVS. You're the boss, boss. Hashtag SellZSJLToNetflix. Hashtag SellSnyderVerse to Netflix. Let's go.
And was this something that Wayne said on Lethal Geeks?
Yes, you need to watch it.
Okay. Oh no, I'm definitely gonna watch it. I'm definitely gonna check that out because I'm really, really curious about that one. But yeah, exactly, Josh. Exactly. And hey, this MCU fan did do the hashtag, so shout out to you, Socks. But stay tuned, as Sin Havoc says. We're gonna end this as stay tuned. So thank you, Josh, for coming on. Thank you for having this discussion with me. Shout out to you, Floyd. Shout out to you, Skiiwalker. And we have a lot of momentum, so we just got to keep fighting, guys. We got to keep fighting, keep the engagement. And coming up for me, I'm going to actually say this is that Tuesday. I got this confirmed now. I'll get the link up soon, but I will be doing a Batman v Superman review for the anniversary of Batman v Superman with none other than Trey of the Bat Channel and Super Bro Corey. I did Man of Steel with Super Bro, so I have to do Batman v Superman with both of them. So check that out. I think that's going to be a great one. I'm really excited for that. And Josh, what's coming up for you?
Nothing really. I'll be honest with you, Bat Dan. I haven't told you this, but I think you kind of assumed like things are a little uncertain for me right now. I'm always going to be supporting of this movement. I'm just dealing with a lot of stuff personally right now. Things are a little dark for me right now. So I'll be around. I just haven't been on streams, and my whole like work schedule and just life in general is just kind of being turned upside down. So I'll be supporting. I just might be doing it from the shadows, like how I was before you guys knew who I was as a faceless avatar. I've always had my face on there because I'm Bane. But yeah, things are just kind of, you know, while things may be going good for some people, not going good for other people. So it's just life, right? But that's why we need powerful art to keep inspiring me out of my funk, or you know, we all kind of have times and trials and tribulations. So that's why I'm going to continue to support as much as I can. I'll be around. I just might not be around as much as I have been in the past, just due to life. But I'll be here hashtagging SellZSJLToNetflix, SellSnyderVerse to Netflix.
Absolutely, Josh. And you know, real life, I always say real life comes first. The instant you come on my channel, when you're not able to because of, I'm speaking generally when I say this, like because of family issues or work stuff or whatever, you're no longer welcome to my channel because I never want someone to put this before real life stuff. Now, if you need a distraction, that's one thing. But so I always respect that. Always respect anyone coming on my channel who's putting their stuff first. I mean, Socks and I, we do a lot of Marvel together. There's been times he wasn't able to make it. There's times I'm not able to make it. Real life, because real life, or we're not feeling well or whatever. So absolutely, Josh. And you're welcome on this channel anytime. And whenever you're ready to come back and we have a good topic, would love to have you back. And for me on my channel, other than the Batman v Superman review. I promise, I do apologize, Sox. I have not been feeling well, so that Daredevil Season 2 review with our non-spoiler review of the first 2 episodes of Born Again, a little outdated now at this point, but I'm still going to get it out. I'll put some apology comments during the video, but that will come out. I'll try to get that out this week. I do promise. We'll see, though, because I got a lot of stuff coming up in my personal life as well that's going to take my time. So editing is not easy, people. Editing is not easy. Just keep that in mind. So that will come out soon. So yeah, thank you, Sox. Thank you. And guys, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more unique takes, interesting thoughts, and great discussions such as these. And guys, 504 subscribers right now. Get me to 550, and once I have my cushion, I'll do my special 500 subscriber stream. So check that out. And on that note, any final words, Josh?
Hashtag so, baby!
Have a bat-tastic day.
DC is loading up fast for another failure. The desperation is breaking the fandom beyond repair. Do you think James Gunn or David Zaslav really care? The gun's about to go off, the blast is heard around the world. These shots are crazy, the gunfire misses cause WBD is lazy. The target is off, while the gun smokes and clicks. It's time for Warner to sell the SnyderVerse to Netflix. The DCU is DOA, here's the message, here's what we're trying to say. Empty promises and it's not working, cause Gunny wants some toilet humor featuring endless twerking, pretending like he's not an amateur, but let's be real, all his work is silly, he's a fraud, a fake, a really bad deal. Yo, WBD, stop the DC steal. We hear the gunfire, ooh. Gunny Poo, Gunny Poo, Gunny Poo, ooh. Flop after flop is all you'll ever do. It's still a mystery as to why they gave you Scooby-Doo, because flop after flop is all you ever do. It's a bad legacy that you're leaving behind. You never listen to the people, you just do what's on your mind. You're an overgrown child who needs to be stopped after Guardians. What happened to your career? Oh yeah, that's right, it flopped. Ooh, you're not funny, damn son, you must like losing money. There's only one thing that would be worst, if you had your grubby evil hands in the SnyderVerse. Go away, take your toys and go, we don't wanna play.